Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Here I am, Sam. Sam, where are you, mate?
Mate, I'm
Pop
here, but here might mean something a bit different.
What are you talking about?
Right. Are you ready?
Go on.
Ready? Guess where I
Go
am.
on.
3, 2, 1.
You're back in Narnia.
I'm back in Narnia, mate. The wardrobe is behind me.
Brilliant, brilliant. But then that makes an awful lot of sense to you and me, but it might not to anyone else.
Well, no. Interestingly enough, we're almost alienating multiple groups of people here. So
I think so.
Long-term listeners, or should I say long-term watchers of Drewling Samantics, those who have been watching the show for a long time on YouTube, will probably know what we're on about. Long-time listeners may be familiar with what we're talking about, but anyone new who's watching or anyone new who's listening, no idea. So we're sort of a third of people might have some sort of basically. This is a wardrobe. Oh, I say this. If you're listening, there's a wardrobe behind me, right? I'm really stuffing this up already, mate. I know this is not. You're sat there just laughing away at me.
I know, because you go on.
Essentially, I'm in digs. I'm away on tour at the moment, and it just so happens that the lovely lady who puts me up when I come to this area of the world, I've stayed here numerous times before when we've been recording. So the wardrobe that is behind me is familiar to Drew and familiar to some listeners and watchers, simply because it's been referred to in the past as Narnia. So yes, long story short, I'm back in Narnia, mate. Isn't it great?
Or more accurately, you're in Norfolk, aren't you? That's where you're
I am in Norfolk, but yes, affectionately known as Narnia, this particular place. But I may be away from home and not in the studio, but that doesn't mean that I'm slacking, mate, because no sign. But check it out. I have remembered my shirt, despite
your shirt.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago where it sort of went on a wander. But I've got my shirt, and more importantly, here's the main thing that I've got. I've got alcohol. I've got some beer. So,
well, mate, I'm wearing my shirt. I've got the sign behind me, and I've got me Drewling Samantics cup of tea. I'm fully branded up. There we are.
Amazing.
Fully branded.
Anyone not watching, there are many Drewling Samantics branded items on screen. We are representing, as we probably should, because if we don't do it, I'm not sure many will. But there we go. Neither here nor there. Cheers, mate. Lovely to see you.
Matey. Good slurp with me tea. Lovely.
Yes. So, how have you been? Busy? Well, I know you've been busy, but how has being busy been?
Busy's been very nice, thank you, mate. Yeah, I've had a lovely little bit of filming this week, and about which I'm not allowed to say anything, but a lovely bit of filming. The only thing I can say is that we have said this in the past, that we were here to say that this isn't a glamorous business. We are. We're hard at work, and you're hard at work in Norfolk, and we'll hear more about that in a minute. But I just like to say that if anybody thinks that filming sounds glamorous, I had to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning for, little glamorous bit coming up, a car picking me up to take to set to get into makeup. That's all I'd like to say is, if anybody else, yesterday was having a nice lie-in, I was up at the crack of sparrows,
You were up at Sparrow's crack. What?
up at Sparrow's crack. Yeah. Mate, there's no one around. I'll tell you now, if you want to drive on the North Circular in London, at any time of the day, 4:15 is a bloody good time to do it. There's no one around, and quite rightly so.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think that's probably because all those people that are not there, mate, are far more sensible than those that are there. So, But yeah, and it's not glamorous. I had to get up early, he says, being picked up in his chauffeur-driven vehicle. Yeah. We're supposed to be the working class actors here. We're supposed to be the voice of the little man. Well, you are a voice in a little bit. I mean,
I am, mate. I mean, it's once in a blue moon. But I mean, let's face it, there was no other way of getting there because, you know, at 4:15 in the morning, there's no other way to traffic. There's nowhere to park, and the tubes are on strike. So what can I tell you?
It's very true. And I will just add, for those of you that were either watching or listening, that was a legitimate call time for other people as well. It wasn't just because Drew needs more makeup than most. Not everyone else didn't start at 9 o'clock, and they just got him in because they're like, oh shit, we need to get the trowels and the Ronseal out.
I'm not saying anything, mate. I'm not rising to the bait.
I'm defending. I'm saying this is not like. Oh, thank you. I think delirium.
What have you been doing in Norfolk before we get any further down the insults line?
Norfolk is lovely as ever. I'm on a tour with a different company now, who I'm not going to say too much about at this time because this tour is sort of split up. So we've got a little period now, and then we break for a bit, and then we come back September, October time, do some more rehearsals and some actual touring and performing. But with any luck, I might be able to do some more in-depth stuff later on in the tour. So I won't sort of reveal anything too much now, because maybe we'll be able to focus on it a bit later on in the new season.
Well, that I now we have promised this in the past, and we've got a new season coming up. This is our last of our regular episodes of season 8.
Yeah.
Now in season 8, we said, well, we'll get out and about, and we haven't really.
I'm pretty sure
we'll get out and about, you know.
So pretty sure we said that in season 7 as well.
I think we did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So maybe season 9, you know, we'll do it. We'll promise.
Can I just caveat that with we have had some lovely communication from people saying that they haven't, not that they haven't missed it, but that it hasn't been a negative that we haven't managed to go out and about yet. We've had some wonderful messages and stuff from people saying how much they've loved all the guests we've had on, and they do. A lot of people say, "Oh, we'd love to see you getting out and about more, or hear you sort of on set or on scene or whatever." But it hasn't had negative effect. So,
and let's before we go any further, we should say, you know, that you are broadcasting tonight, you know, today, from Norfolk, Narnia in the background. I mean, come on, it's got to count for something.
It's close. I mean, we're not together doing stuff, and I'm away, but I'm not showing what's going on for the reason I'm away. But nonetheless, I'm not in the studio, and we're not in my flat, so that's it counts.
Moving on.
Let's move on before I dig this hole any deeper. But no, massive thanks to everyone that has commented and just said, love the season. And it's another case, Drew, I think, of this season's gone immensely quickly.
Really?
So this is our 13th episode of season 8, which I'm gonna do some quick maths now. Is this 118th episode total? No. Yes.
That was quick. It's something like that.
If that's right, that was really quick maths. And genuinely, I've just done that. This isn't a pre-recorded, planned, and I've sat with my maths book and written it down.
No.
But yeah, we're well over 100 episodes, closer to sort of 125, so closer to the quarter there, I think. And it has gone super quickly. I mean, we've got the 2 best jobs coming up, which people absolutely love, and equally so do we, because we love going back over the stuff that we've done, and particularly looking back over the guests. We've had some incredible guests this season. So, and then where are we? So, you guys, if you're watching this the day it comes out, it's the 23rd of July, I think. So
I've got a calendar down here. I'm gonna cheat.
It will be. Sunday is the 23rd of July.
Sunday the 23rd.
So if this is the day it came out, then you are listening or watching on the 23rd of July, and we're from this point we're just under a month until the next brand new episode. So it's not a huge amount of time to wait. And actually, in that time, there's 2 best ofs anyway. So lots to look forward to still. Yeah. But nonetheless, it is sad that this season's coming to an end, because it's been a brilliant season. And we can maybe go into and chat a little bit more about this season and moving on to the new one But we do have to address the usual first. We've got some news, we've got some updates, and there's a rather important topic that I feel we must address as well, Drew.
Yeah, we'll move on to that in a minute. There's a couple of, there's always a little sad moment, but I always look at it as a celebratory moment because we neglected a very fine actor who passed away recently. An actor called John Nettleton. Now, you know me, I'm a big fan of those actors, and I love giving those actors a mention that you see on the television, you see in the films all the time, and you sit there and mentally you go, "Oh, it's him, or it's her, or it's them." And John Nettleton was, I mean, he for 50 years, maybe more, an amazing character actor. He was in. Probably his famous role was in Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister, but he was in Foyle's War, Midsummer Murders, dozens and dozens of television programs. He was a prolific character actor in the RSC, the National Theatre. He toured. He trained at RADA. He was one of those actors that you saw everywhere. He described himself as a workman actor. He just went to work, did his job, and didn't want the glamour, but he knew. He said, I probably gently misquote him here, but he said, "I'm a pipe smoking actor. I've been typed as, or typecast as he meant, as a doctor, a politician, a lawyer, or a teacher." And he said, "I'm very happy to be that workman actor," and he played it brilliantly, very successfully. He sadly passed away at a wonderful age of 94. He will be sadly missed. There will be a little John Nettleton shaped character actor hole in many programs until they you can't replace people like that.
No, of course, no.
But just a nod to John Nettleton. Fabulous.
Another actor who had, forgive the phrase, but a seriously good innings. Just kept working, and I think it's inspirational, and it's also a positive thing to look at. In that,
absolutely,
there is in theory a retirement age for everyone. You could stop at any point, but I think the people we refer to that we do see getting to their 80s, their 90s, and performing up till the day almost, it just shows what passion they have for their work. And just
absolutely.
I aspire to be just like that.
I would
like to live to a ripe old age, and I'd like to still be working right up to the end. So
that's the way to go. That's the way to go. Another little phrase that we is bandied about is the word icon. And if saying this, some people will have gone, "I know who you're going to be talking about," but we lost an icon a few days ago, Jane Birkin, who. If you don't know Jane Birkin, she probably was, along with Twiggy, one of the most influential people, actors, celebrities of the 60s and 70s. She was described by someone as the most French British person or English person. She was, and if you don't know her, I mean, she was beautiful. She was talented. She also gained notoriety with Serge Gainsbourg, and they released a single that was much banned, Je t'aime, basically because Jane Birkin, part of the lyrics were wonderful, but Jane Birkin was also given to some wonderful sexy noises that can only be described as orgasmic during that song. And it got it banned worldwide. And of course, we know there is nothing better publicity than getting banned. So it made it a huge. But she also, with Serge Gainsbourg, they released some wonderful albums. And she passed away, say, very recently. But even at 70, she released an album and was about to start touring again. Sadly, she'd battled cancer for many a long year. She suffered from leukemia, which she called a very painless cancer, which I think is an extraordinary thing for someone to say.
Well, yeah, it's
that's the way to take it on. But she was incredible. She was a 60s icon. And the other thing is, and she had a handbag designed for her and named after her.
Did she really?
She was, yeah. And I didn't know this, but it came up, and then I did a little little search and a Google, and apparently she was. There are several versions, but the version, most recent version, she was very famous for carrying around a wicker bag with everything in. She just threw everything in, and she was known for this thing. And she was on a plane, some say train, but she was putting it in a luggage rack on a form of transport. It fell out, and she complained. And she said, "Why doesn't Hermes make me a wonderful weekend bag?" And sitting in the compartment with her was, and I'll just get his name right, was Jean-Louis Dumas, who was a designer for Hermes.
Yeah, wow.
And he designed her a handbag.
What?
He made it for her.
That's
now,
incredible.
I know. And now you try and pick one of those handbags up today. They start at a gentle price of £7,000, £7,000.
I mean, Hermes stuff is ridiculously expensive. Anyway, but then second-hand
ones now are going for, well, I think there's the 30. There are different brands and different designs. A second-hand one I saw online for a snip at £43,000. Yeah.
What?
There are the prices are extraordinary, and I can only imagine now that Jane Birkin has passed away, they're going to just skyrocket.
Well, it was we recently lost Vivienne Westwood, didn't we, as well?
Yeah.
And I believe that anything Vivienne Westwood branded now, the prices are skyrocketing, particularly earlier designs and things, because it's weird, isn't it? These things become more desirable or more sought after when sadly we lose the people that represent them, or they represent, however you look at it. So, but yeah, wow.
There you go. But I mean,
the odd spare 40 grand on a bag. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I'll have
sure
three,
the other half
I think.
would love one.
Well, one for every other day of the week. I don't know, but yeah. So again, some sad losses, but equally, as you say, celebrations of incredible lives.
Celebration of incredible lives. Yeah.
So as always, shall raise a drink to these,
to John Nettleton and to Jane Birkin, and many others that we may well have forgotten.
Oh well, of course, as always, we try and mention those who are most appropriate or related to the industry, and obviously it's all about timing and fitting in, and people are under no illusion that this is recorded live. It certainly isn't. It's recorded normally a day or two in advance, so we do sometimes miss them, but we will always try and mention those who we believe we definitely should and are most relatable or most in connection with what we do and what we talk about. So yes,
absolutely.
Shall we move from there to the elephant in the room?
Well, I think we should, Sam.
I mean, for clarification, this isn't the real Narnia. I'm not expecting an elephant to appear from the wardrobe behind me. The Lion, the Witch, and the Elephant. No, the Lion, the Elephant, the Witch, and the Wardrobe doesn't. Yeah, I've digressed already within 10 seconds.
Just a tiny bit, mate. Just a tiny bit.
Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut up. You start talking about what we're going to talk about.
Well, most people, and certainly anybody in the watching, listening in the industry, but I would imagine a lot of people that are interested in the industry and watch TV and movies will know that there is a writers and actors strike. SAG and AFTRA, Screen Actors Guild and American Feature Television, they are on strike. And a lot of people have gone, why, what they're doing. But a lot of this has come about because, and we discussed it a few episodes ago, because of AI, because of the streaming services, which we are very fond of and very supportive of, and they have been a great service. But we did talk about this, and the effect it has on actors, on our profession, but also, the protection that actors are given or not under the and literally going forward, how as we progress, the industry progresses and deals with it, how are actors going to be treated, protected, compensated for this? Yeah. And this has kicked up a lot of other issues. Everybody, and I'm not saying it's just actors, everybody is suffering from the cost of living crisis. Yeah. And we know that there are other industries, doctors, railway workers, teachers, they've all gone on strike and are still striking. And however you feel about their, whether you support them or otherwise, they are on strike, and it is, actors. It's, people go, well, they're actors. They're paid extremely well for what they do. There are a strata of actor, and it cannot be denied, that are paid extraordinarily well. And once in a while, your workman actors, to use John's phrase, gets a good day's work. But that doesn't protect you. That doesn't keep you going forever. So this issue has raised its head, and I think we are being listened to and taken seriously, because people are watching streaming services, and all those, Netflix amongst the many others that are out there, that we they're being watched. And I don't know if people realize that an actor, we used to, as you made an ad, you would be paid residuals. You did a television program, it was shown, you got residuals, you got repeat fees.
Yeah,
that is no longer the case, and certainly not with the streaming services.
No.
And possible usage in AI. I know you've got a couple of stories about that have been highlighted within this.
It's really difficult, isn't it? Because we talked about AI recently, and we were very much open to both sides. There are some benefits to it, without a shadow of doubt. It's very clever technology, and there are lots of things that you can do, and there are undoubted benefits. However, the big fear at the moment, and one of the main issues with regards and what the strikes are sort of representing, is the power that AI will hold, or that production companies will have with the AI rules they want to bring in or want to not bring in, as the case may be. Yeah. And as you say, I've got a couple of examples. So essentially, there are a lot of companies, or there are a lot of instances being discussed or mentioned, where your likeness gets scanned and you get paid a fee, on whether that's as a supporting artist or an extra, as most people might know, right up to high end, like top of the pile. Your likeness can be recorded, and if you don't check your contracts, and if you don't sign the right things, and if you don't make sure things are safe, they basically can do whatever they like with that likeness. So, and I haven't got it in front of me now, but we both read this same article, and it's very much paraphrased. And if you look it up on search engines, you'll probably be able to find more details. And I'm not going into specifics as well, because it's not necessarily my place to. It's not my information, but it's a decent example that I think should be talked about. There's a gentleman who I believe he did either an advert or he did a one-off promo for a computer game, and his likeness was scanned and they used it for that. A little while down the line, he was contacted by a friend of his and his friend said, "My son's just killed you." And he said, "Well, what bloody hell are you on about?" He said, "My son's just killed you." And it transpired that not only had they used this chap's likeness for the promo, which was obviously what he originally agreed, but somehow they'd either loopholed or he'd missed something, but essentially they'd put him into the game. So he was characters and he was being shot, and it was his exact likeness. And as far as I'm aware, he is now going through a lawsuit because of it, because I don't think he agreed to any of that to happen. And
right.
But essentially, he and I can't remember the stats, but it was something like the year the game was released that this happened in. If you took the top 2 selling movies of the year, and I think it was the top 2 selling albums of the year, music albums, and you total all 4 of those and the money that all 4 of those made together, this game made like 10 times that. It's absolutely insane. And as said, I don't want to go into specifics, it's not my place to, but if you look it up on search engines, you'll be able to find the details. And it's absolutely appalling that this guy, because if that had all been agreed beforehand, I mean, the guy would be a millionaire now. And it's not about the money per se, but number one, he's certainly been shortchanged. And number two, things have happened that he never agreed to, but they've possibly loopholed around or just been sneaky with. There are other examples of things that that these new AI laws are sort of avoiding, or people could be subject to. So I'll give you a couple of examples. They're possibly going to give the opportunity for viewers or general public to be digitally scanned and pay to be inserted into custom movies. And equally, so the new film, but you could, I guess they're going to try and make money by saying, do you want to be in a movie? We'll scan your likeness and we'll pop you in the background or something. Think of the money they can make of that. An even bigger money-making scam, I say scam, opportunity, however you look at it. Studios will make deals that older films, I will use an example, biggest franchise in the world, arguably, Star Wars, people could be scanned and put into those old films and have custom version of those films provided for them, so they're in those. Now, that's a gimmicky thing, but the money behind that as well. I'm not saying those are necessarily bad things from the actor's point of view at this stage, but that it's damaging to the industry, I think, because you're taking away from what the core of it is. The really damaging one, or the one that I read about that was particularly shocking, and again, I'm not going to specify names and things just because it's not my place to, but there was a hit TV series, massive TV series in the States. It had about 150, 170 odd episodes over 7 seasons. And they, I don't know who it was, but they gave all that to an AI bot to watch, and it then created another season just from all the information and watch it, and a watchable, believable season, an entire season of something that was created years and years ago. And that, think of the actors that were in that. Number one, they might not have ever wanted to do another one. Number two, it probably ended in an appropriate way or whatever. But equally, think of the money that would have had to be. So AI is an opportunity to save lots of money. I get that. You have to invest money in the first place to have this incredible technology, but then in the long run, it can potentially save you lots more. But what are we sacrificing for that? Like, it's
I mean, it's a minefield of a debate, as you said, and I think we have to start having this conversation. Whether it's, I mean, I arguably, SAG and AFTRA are probably a little stronger than our British equivalents, than Equity and the MU and people like that. But they have a bigger film industry than we do. However,
100%.
It's when it comes down to it, it is the guy. They're saying we don't necessarily have to protect the big guys. They're rich enough to go, okay, fine. I've got my career. Or they're rich enough to sue. But it is workman actors. It is the guy that does a couple of days filming, and then suddenly he's in a major game or whatever. And protection.
Yeah,
it's there is no form of protection out there. So it raises a whole question of like, well, how do you protect yourself? Do you go into a morning's work or a day's work and go, okay, where's the contract for this? Well, I want to see this, that, and the other. Unless adequate protections
you're going to get
are made,
people's backs up, aren't you, doing that? And that's where the issue lies.
Well, it's going to be that is going to happen. During the unwelcome guest, what were known as COVID restrictions came about, and we all had to work to that. And it was, if we want this film production, television production, stage production to work, we have to work in these restrictions. That's fine. Now, that was life threatening, but and production threatening. Producers and TV companies, film companies are going to have to come around to the fact that people are going to walk away and go, we're not doing it. And that's what SAG are saying. We're not doing it. We need protecting. And if the big boys walk out of a premiere of Oppenheimer or whatever and go,
exactly,
no, we're supporting these guys, you have to take notice. And I don't know, to and I hate the phrase, but to the man in the street, to the layman, they're going, is this important? Yeah, because it's like we said before. You take all that stuff off, and it's hitting. It will hit. It will hit hard on. I know the television, Netflix. It is going to stop production. It is going to affect all those peripheral trades that the unwelcome guest did.
Yeah, I mean, the sad fact is, it is all about money. And I'm not talking from the defense point of view. I'm talking from those that are trying to bring in certain things so they can save money. And the really sad fact is that it tends to be the ones who have got so much money that it wouldn't really make a difference to them. But why have they got so much money? Because they are sighters and crabs, whatever. But and I'm going to give an example. And again, I'm not going to be specific because I don't want to draw too much attention or get Drewling Samantics into trouble, but I will talk cryptically. We tend to do that a lot in our social media, so there's no reason I shouldn't do it now. So a CEO of a company has not been very positively outspoken about these strikes. I'm not going to say which company, but possibly the most famous mouse in history. I will say no more. A CEO of
someone's been taking the mickey, haven't they?
Well, they have, yeah, a little bit. He is quoted, and I won't say this is exact, but I'm going to take, possibly paraphrasing again, that saying that the writers and actors going on strike in Hollywood are not being realistic with their expectations. And he has been quoted as saying, "It's very disturbing to me." Now, just to put it in perspective, taking stats from somewhere else, I haven't done this research myself, but these are the stats that seem to be accurate. On average, a Hollywood writer is paid approximately $70,000 a year. I'm not sure what the exchange rate at the moment is. That's probably around about 50 grand, I think, something about that. So $69,000 a year, a writer in Hollywood. The certain CEO of a mouse-related company is paid roughly $74,000 a day.
Jeez.
I don't think we need to say a great deal more at that point.
To quote him, I find that rather disturbing.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. And to be honest, I think we could go on for hours and hours about this, but I think we've said our piece. We've said what's important. I think we should move on. But I might leave you with one final thought.
Go for it.
Man quite dear to our hearts. He's annoyed us recently for some decisions which he might be making, which we're not necessarily in agreement with, but each to their own. A certain Mr. John Cleese recently tweeted, and I think this is just, it's the kind of, it couldn't be more John Cleese if it tried, but
he's well known for the pithy comment, isn't he? Let's face it. So
and his tweet, I shall read for you now, and it's: "I keep reading that film studios are contemplating replacing writers and actors by using artificial intelligence to mimic their talents. Surely it would be easier and more efficient to replace the executives since they have no talent at all." Yeah, I mean,
what's that phrase they use in Parliament? He might say that, I couldn't possibly comment, but
yeah, exactly. And on that note, I think we leave that one. We would love to hear comments. Please do message us. Please do get involved in this discussion. We're not saying you have to agree with it. We would just love to hear what people's views are. We obviously are massively in support of it because it's our industry, it's our livelihoods, and we don't want to be taken advantage of. But that we shall draw a line under it for now. We may have to revisit it in the new season, but this is episode 13 of season 8. This is the final normal, for want of a better word, episode of the season. Have you enjoyed
You're saying that sitting in front of a wardrobe in Norwich? Normal, really?
Yeah, exactly. But have you enjoyed the season, Drew?
I've loved this season. We've had some fabulous guests on, and we will celebrate those in the best of episode coming up shortly.
Yeah.
We haven't got out and about as much as we want to, but we will next season. But most of all, mate, wherever you're sitting, whatever you've got behind you, I've enjoyed chatting with me, mate. It's been a lovely way of spending a few weeks.
Bless
Certainly.
you, mate. Is it tea in your mug, or have you been on the sauce again? Because that's rather nice from you.
No, it's me Drewling Samantics cup of tea, mate, and I mean that. It's been a lovely one.
And can I please say that obviously the feeling is absolutely mutual. I adore chatting to you and being able to voice our thoughts, our concerns, our passions, our ideas, and to all those wonderful people out there who do join us, whether it's the minute the episode comes out, whether it's weeks afterwards, whatever, whether you're listening to this in 10 years' time, if we're still around by then. I mean, it is an absolute joy to know that people want to listen, want to watch, and keep coming back. And please do keep coming back. There is so much more to come. Next season, we've got some cracking things planned. We've already got some amazing guests lined up. I'm really excited about, well, all of them really, but there are a couple in there who we just want to keep it fresh and different. And there are people in there that are going to certainly help us do that. Aside from that, mate, there's not a lot else to say. Please join us next week where we go back over the best bits of all the wonderful visitors we've had this season. And aside from that, just keep watching, keep listening, not just to us, but to all those incredible actors, performers, everyone out there who makes our industry tick and keep going. Keep showing your support, because
absolutely,
however much fun it looks like we're having, we're still bloody working hard, really hard.
We are. So, it's all worth it, Sam.
Oh, it's absolutely, and it's a privilege to do a job that I adore every day. But that doesn't mean I don't work at it. So that's quite a philosophical end to the season.
I think, mate. I think you put it perfectly. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to have the rest of my beer.
I'm going to drink the rest of my tea.
And I'll see you next week. And we'll see all our revisited guests as well.
Yeah. We'll get that ready for you, everyone.
Everyone else, be there next week for that. Be there the week after for the best bits of us. But most importantly, join us on the 20th of August, I think, for season 9.
MDD. Mate.
See you all then. Take it easy.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.